So this is the first video in a series of videos that cover the FLL challenge programming. And specifically, we're going to be talking about the EV3. This is the first video or the first lesson where we're going to just do a basic overview of the programming software and EV3 components. So the EV3 is essentially a type of robot. It's really your robot. And it's the components of the EV3 are your brain, your motors, and your sensors that are on the robot. And you're programming this robot using programs you write on a computer, and then you're going to download it to the EV3. And then the EV3 will perform the actions of that program. And hopefully this will make a little more sense later on. So the first step you're always going to want to do is actually download the programming software. And to do that, you're going to go to this URL, which will be posted in the comments. And you're going to use version 1.4.5, and this will make sure you have all of the sensors options or the different options you need to complete the rest of this series of lessons. So then you have your physical components of the EV3, and the first is the brain. And this is going to be part of your Lego robot. And the brain is really what controls the robot. So when you make a program, you download it to the brain, and then the brain will essentially tell what the program says to the different components of the robot. So you're going to plug in all of your motors and all of your sensors to the brain, and the brain will tell them what to do based on what you wrote in the program. So you can see you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom here. These are your sensor ports, and on the other side is going to be A, B, C, and D, which are your motor ports. And in the middle, you just have your control panel. One button to turn it on, other buttons are to navigate and to find your program and then get it running. The second component of the EV3 is your motors. So there's two different types of motors. The longer one, or the one that's a little weird shaped, is usually used for your wheels, while the other one is used for an attachment. Both of them do the same thing. They make things spin, and you could choose which ones you want based on the space you have available, or just whatever you're doing when you're making your robot. Next, you have your sensors, and sensors are essentially things that take in information from their environment, and they use that to give the robot different values so it can decide what to do. And this might seem confusing at first, but in the next few lessons, we're going to go over all of these 4 sensors in particular. But really, all you need to know is there's things that are attached to your robot, plugged into your EV3, and they help your EV3 to understand what's happening in the environment, and so it knows what to do based on what your program tells it. Next, you have your wires. The one on your left is going to be the programming cable. So you have a USB, and that's attached to the computer, and then the other one will be attached to your robot, so you can download programs that you write on your computer to the robot. And then the one on the right are just basic cables that will connect either your motors to your EV3 brick or the brain, and then sensors to your EV3 brain. So your first challenge for this lesson, and each of these lessons we're going to have a challenge. So for this one, it is to make a basic robot using an EV3 with 2 motors and then a spot to attach a sensor. And it should be a really simple robot. And what this will allow you to do is in the following lessons, you'll be able to use the robot so you can see how the different programs you make will work.